Islam Makhachev defends his lightweight title against Dustin Poirier at UFC 302, and today we are going to take a look at are the Dagestani fighters dirty, rotten, cheating, steroid abusers? Stick around to hear my thoughts on potential, in my opinion, alleged Dagestani PED use. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. All right, so as some of you know, Islam Makhachev at one point in his career was pulled off of a card again on Fox 19 against Drew Dober due to a potential failed drug test. Now, this is not the first or the last time that a Dagestani fighter was caught cheating. Today, let's take a look and see if the Dagestani fighters are cheaters and steroid abusers. First, we are going to take a look at Russian Olympic Committee's ban from the Olympics, where they were caught doping their fighters and helping their fighters get around drug tests, false samples, all of that. It was a big story several years ago. But this right here from Voice of America News is a study about what specific substances Russian athletes were using in the Olympics. In weightlifting cases, the most common substance was stanozolol. In track and field, it was the endurance boosting hormone EPO, which there's some fighters that also potentially are on. I'm looking at you, Kamaru Usman. I'm looking at you, Merab. In cycling, it was Meldonium, Wyatt said. Meldonium is a heart medication most widely known for the doping case of Russian tennis star Maria Sharapova. Now, we take a look. Islam Makhachev was pulled from his fight against Drew Dober. That was a positive test for Meldonium. Now, he ended up accepting a no fault, the finding of no fault. And the official take from USADA was, after thorough review, USADA concluded that the extremely low meldonium concentration in the athlete's urine sample combined with the athlete's explanation of use was consistent with ingestion prior to the substance being officially prohibited in 2016. Based on the latest guidance offered by WADA on June 30th, 2016, involving Meldonium, Makhachev will not face a period of ineligibility for his drug test, meaning suspension. Islam Makhachev allegedly took this substance after a open heart surgery. And in my opinion, I interpret that finding as he was on it, but it was almost out of his system, and it was before. It looks like he was taking it before we banned it. So although it wasn't banned at the time, it was banned now, and he was taking it. And in my opinion, they cut him a break. Dagestani privilege. This is in my opinion. I have to be clear about this. This is in my opinion. He was given a break, a little bit of a shady break, because he cheated using the same endurance boosting banned substance that many Russian athletes in cycling and Maria Sharapova used, who's a famous tennis star, were burned for, and he got away with it due to USADA's anti-doping rules not involving meldonium at the same time. Now, I grew up playing baseball. I played college baseball. My dad was a pro baseball player, and he was a pro baseball player in the steroid era, so I understand a lot of what goes on in pro sports. What happens is that the doping agencies, USADA, or the MLB, NBA, NFL's drug testing agencies, they're always one step behind. When they're finding out what guys are on and they're catching people and suspending them, those are the guys that don't have the money, the status, or the resources to be on to the next thing. So in my experience, my knowledge of PED use in sports is that the guys that don't get caught, they're usually on something too. They're just on the next newest thing that the drug testing agencies are not aware of yet. This has happened with EPO. People were on EPO and getting away with it. Now the drug testing agencies are aware of it. People were on TRT at a certain point. HGH has been used. SARMs has been used as well. Ryan Garcia just tested positive for SARMs. Sean O'Malley's tested positive for SARMs. But some guys, whether it be their connections to producers of these supplements, whether it be just pure luck of when they get drug tested, they get away with certain things. And I think that the old adage via the Nick Diaz statement that everyone's on steroids is probably true. Conor McGregor was on steroids after his injury. Khabib has been rumored tons of times to be on steroids, or at least during his career. And here we have Islam Makhachev, who was on this substance. Islam Makhachev was on meldonium, but the USADA said that the supplement or the amount that was in his system looked like he took it before it was banned. So he stopped taking it when they banned it, essentially. And we move on to the original point of this video, because it started with Islam. Khabib has been accused as well, but my interest in this was sparked by Islam Makhachev. This right here brings my focus back to Dagestani fighters as a whole. 5 times Dagestani fighters were accused of cheating. The very first one is lightweight Bobby Green, who fought Islam Makhachev, accused of PED usage. Islam Makhachev is a fighter with great functional strength. The Dagestani phenom owes his physicality to all the training that optimized his muscle tissue and nervous system for wrestling and grappling. This grappling-based strength is what enabled him to capture the UFC lightweight title.
Right. Y'all talk about all this shit, but y'all don't talk about Islam. Islam, he had a little situation. He got a video on YouTube, said he got popped for some shit called Meldonium or some shit like that. All their guys take these supplements since they were kids. You know what I mean? They've been taking drugs and stuff since they were kids. If you gave me steroids since the age of, what do you think I'll be? You know what I mean?
I'm not like Bobby Green. Like, I'm not drunk, do some bad stuff. I training hard, that's why he feel the power. And I told you. All the fighters say I'm gonna defend his wrestling, like if he take me down, I'm gonna go up. But when fight is happening, when I take down my opponent, they all feel my power and they all tap, you know. That's why. This is not because I'm good, because I training all my life, you know, that's why.
So there is Bobby Green saying that Islam was on Meldonium, which is true, but he was allegedly not at fault due to the rules with USADA. But Islam Makhachev says no. Now here is Sean O'Malley, who parrots, funny enough, coming from Sean O'Malley, who tested positive for Ostarine, tainted supplements. But here is, and I'm not just going after the Dagestanis. Everybody's on something, in my opinion. Everybody's taking a little something. I know some pro fighters. I know some pro athletes. I'm friends with a few of them. And a lot of people are on steroids. That's what I'll say. Not steroids, performance-enhancing substances. And so this right here is Sean O'Malley backing up Bobby Green's accusation against Islam Makhachev.
Drew Dober's good. Did you see Bobby saying Islam was so fucking strong and felt something like he's never felt before? And then he said he was watching an interview from a long time ago when Islam got in trouble with something with USADA, and Islam was saying when he grew up, they would just give him supplements. They would just in Russia, they would just give all the athletes supplements. They don't know what the fuck they're taking. Yeah. 13, 14, 15. He said maybe that's why he feels so fucking strong.
I wouldn't be surprised, but like anyone who grapples for their whole life, you feel Bryce Meredith, dude. It's
Bryce
like,
feels,
yeah,
that's
they're
true.
just so fucking strong because they're so used to.
Did Bobby wrestle though? Like, didn't he wrestle or no?
Bobby wrestled.
So he's felt that.
Yeah. But
he said Islam felt like something he's never felt before.
Yeah. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a reason why Russia got banned from the Olympics and shit.
So I really do appreciate Tim Welch being like, yeah, but you know what it's like when people grapple their whole lives, which you have to be honest a little bit about it. Now, Eugene Behrman accusing Islam Makhachev of IV use after UFC 284, which, to be fair, I don't necessarily buy into the IV excuse for this fight. But at the same time, these guys do perform much better when they're in Abu Dhabi. They do perform much better when they're not in a highly regulated commission area.
Reliable information to a point. And I will half plead the fifth. Can you half plead the fifth?
You could plead the 2.5?
Look, yeah, the 2.5. Yeah. But the information, it falls short because for several reasons, and one of them is that you can actually take an IV before a fight. It just has to be 100 mils of saline with every 12 hours in a 12-hour block.
So Eugene Behrman also being objective the same way about Tim Welch. I'm not going to give you guys just a one-sided, they're all cheaters And here's the only proof. I'm not going to give you just one side of the coin. I'll show you both and you guys can decide for yourselves. And not every single accusation is necessarily true. But here you have Conor McGregor also accusing them of steroids. Says, wow, another Dagestani caught abusing steroids. That's 2 out of 3 in this picture busted for steroid use, with the most recent being busted 3 times in a row and now hit with a lifetime ban. Excellent job. The only vice that cannot be forgiven is hypocrisy. And that it right here is, I believe, Ruslan Magomedov in the middle, who did receive a lifetime ban from USADA for continuously failing drug tests. And then here is back to the IV allegations from Dan Hooker. Now, Dan Hooker talking about IVs, saying that Islam is a cheat, and Belal Muhammad. And while this IV thing was proven to be relatively fugazi in terms of an accusation, Belal Muhammad says when the hate don't work, they start telling lies. And that makes me think about Belal Muhammad, because Belal Muhammad is somebody who trains with them, and he also has been the subject of some steroid allegations. As you can see here, this says Belal gained an unnatural amount of muscle in his 30s and his head nearly doubled in size. At the same time, he put together the longest winning streak of his career. Now, there is lighting. His beard does make his head look a little bit bigger, but he does have way more muscle mass than he did in his early UFC career. In his belt, this was actually in Bellator, this first picture, and his head does look bigger. It kind of does. And given that he trains with this group of Dagestani fighters, it leads to the assumption that it's possible that Belal Muhammad is another cheater. And so him defending Islam would make a lot of sense, because he might be on that same secret sauce, that same secret Paulo Costa juice. Right here is a picture of the fighter Ruslan Nurmagomedov that Conor McGregor accused of being a steroid abuser. This right here says, there's never a proper time to cheer the loss of another person's job. Even when said person has failed so many anti-doping tests, he receives a lifetime ban from the sport. If you're playing Jeopardy at some point in the future and the answer is Ruslan Magomedov, here's a tip. The correct question will be, who is the first fighter to receive a lifetime ban from USADA? Magomedov managed to accomplish that distinction on Monday when after he had failed 2 previous tests, he refused to submit an out-of-competition test. He just said, no, you're not testing me. Get out of here. That was considered another violation, which was his 3rd, and by terms of the UFC's USADA agreement, triggered an automatic lifetime ban. Magomedov is the only UFC fighter to have 3 violations. John Jones, George Sullivan, and Ricardo Abreu have 2 apiece. Now, John Jones also necessarily kind of got away with one for hiding under the ring and peeing under the ring, and which is true, that did happen. Now, this here is from Bellator. Bellator lightweight champion Usman Nurmagomedov has been suspended in California and fined $50,000 for testing positive for a prohibited substance. Andy Foster confirmed he's pulled from the lightweight Grand Prix. According to Nurmagomedov's manager Ali Abdelaziz, Nurmagomedov's tournament win over Brent Primus from Bellator 300 has been overturned to a no contest. Ali said that Nurmagomedov was using a prescription medication that caused the positive test. Otherwise, the suspension length would have been longer. Ali said that Usman was unaware of the medication that contained a banned substance. Usman was prescribed for an illness that he had. It's not HGH, EPO, whatever. So I did talk about this in my Ryan Garcia video last week. Talked about Sean O'Malley, Ryan Garcia. Regardless of if it's on accident, you are responsible for what is in your system. That's why Khalil Roundtree got suspended, even though it was an accidental consumption. So I have laid out for you the alleged and confirmed drug use of Dagestani fighters and people that train with them like Belal Muhammad. Now, this is for you guys to decide yourselves. Most of them have been cleared. There has been other rumors floating around that people like Khabib are using blood doping. There are stories of UFC fighters being asked by Khabib's camp if they have needles to pull blood out. Now, and I've heard stories about Khabib having to get up and jump rope in the middle of the night to keep his blood going because of how thick your blood gets from blood doping. So I've laid it out for you guys. You can decide for yourselves. In my opinion, there is some shadiness going on with Dagestani fighters. They're in a part of the world where they don't get tested as often as somebody that lives in California or Florida, something like that. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Do you think that the Dagestani fighters are dirty, rotten cheaters? Aside from the Dagestani privilege that they get already, do you think that the reason so many of them want to fight in Abu Dhabi and places like that is because they are allowed to get away with cheating and using IVs to rehydrate after their weight cuts? So let me hear your thoughts down below. Do you think the Dagestanis are steroid abusers? Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you want access to extra content aside from my regular videos, click the link in the description down below to become a channel member and get access to members-only live streams and other bonus perks. Or click the join button on our channel homepage. And if you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, check out my weekly podcast, the Hissyfit podcast, and check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World. I'll have them both linked in the description down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.